Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tata Fox and this is a Tata Fox Express train darling. So guys, I haven't done a makeup look in a minute. I've been doing vlogs and stuff because I've been really busy in and out of London and Johannesburg, but now I'm back in London and I have sort of figured out my perfect foundation routine and I wanted to share that routine with you guys. So in today's video we're going to be talking about foundation. We're going to be talking about how I achieve the perfect flawless foundation for my everyday. Everyday, I don't want to say everyday because it's a little bit complicated for everyday, or it's a little bit time consuming for an everyday look. So it is a look that if I want to impress or a little bit of a special occasion, you know, one of those, it is the foundation routine that I will pop into when I've got the time to play with my foundation. Okay, right, so if you guys are interested to see what my perfect flawless foundation look is, make sure that you keep watching. If you're new to the community, to the Foxnation, the nation, please make sure that you subscribe, make sure you like, comment, and all the good things in between. So guys, first things first, I said this on my Instagram, with those people who follow me on Instagram, that one of the very important key components to flawless foundation is skin prep, right? So I always wash my face before I put on foundation, and I always moisturize, and I always put on sunblock. Okay, the sunblock I am currently using and I have been using for a very long time is the Heroine, this little bad boy over here. So this is really good, and this foundation has got oil control in it. So I've got really oily skin, and my skin is a kind of skin that if I start to take care of it and, you know, use peels and scrubs and, you know, get into hectic routine, it actually becomes even more oily. So I have to make sure that I add this to my FaceTime routine before I start with anything. It's sunblock, which is a really good thing, and it is oil control. Another step I do use, and I did figure out that the reason why I was told, and I have experienced it, is that the reason why my skin in particular becomes quite oily is that it becomes dry, and then my skin overcompensates and creates a lot of oils. So I have to make sure that I moisturize, hydrate to try and combat the oiliness. So I usually prep my skin with the Fix Plus from MAC, and I just do a couple of that. You can get this from MAC. This is like the holy grail. So I do have a pore issue. My pores are like really large on most days, especially when it's warm, but because it's going into winter here, my pores are not as large. But in summer, or when I'm in SA, like you guys currently now, it is very warm, so my pores tend to be quite open most of the time. So I'll use my Smashbox, which is a really good primer. So the Smashbox primer, it is a pore minimizing primer. I take a little bit of this, and then I take the Loreal Infallible mattifying base. So in my cheeks, where I get most of my big pores, I go in and I put the pore minimizing primer, and on my chin, that's where I need the pore minimizing primer the most. Then the mattifying primer from L'Oreal, I usually put that in my T-zone and just where I'm usually really oily. So just over here on the bridge of my nose, going over here. And I can already tell with the mattifying primer when it's on, because it almost creates like this velvety feel on my skin. Oh, check this out. So now that I've primed my skin and my skin is ready for my foundation, this is where you need to go into a like any of those, whenever you buy, you need to go into the store to go and get tested so that you can be color matched, so that you can know what foundation is your color, right? So I know that in summer I'm a shade darker and in winter I'm a shade lighter, but in general I do have lightness over here and darkness on the perimeter of my face. So when I try and do a face flawless foundation, I go with 2 shades of foundation. I know it's a lot, but I go with my lighter tone, and it's not that light, but I can see the difference. I'll go in a lighter tone over there, and then in the perimeter I'll go in with my darker foundation. So then when I start to blend this out, I start with the lighter shade, which is in the center. It already looks crazy, but because you can see the difference in my color is starting to fade in and starting to go a bit darker, but that's why we've got a darker tone over here, which is my actual perimeter foundation, and these two are going to blend into each other. And I'm just going around the whole face, making sure that before I even touched it with a sponge, that I've blended it out really well with the makeup brush. All right, so that is the basic, that is my foundation applied. I look a hell of a whitewashed, I look one skin tone color, and I look hungry. But if you look, I'm actually the same. But if you look, I actually am the same. So even if I do this with whatever's left over, you can't even see it, because it is the same color as my chest. That is the basic foundation applied. But if you want to see what I do next, make sure to come back after these ads, go grab yourself a drink, go to the toilet. Don't forget that watching the ads also contributes to me keeping my channel up and running and content fresh. I'll see you after the next ad break. Okay, welcome back. So then I take a beauty sponge. This one is hell of a dirty, but you know what I'm doing. I'm going to then start to, this is super wet, and I'm going to start blending it in again. I know the brush has done a lot of the blending job for me. I'm just now going back again with the makeup sponge to make it look more like a second skin. So that is the foundation done, it's been applied. So I'm then gonna go in with my highlighter, right? So it's from the Maybelline Fit Me range. Okay, this is the highlighter I'm going to use. I'm gonna go in under my eyes, and I'm going to conceal under my eyes because I've got dark circles under my eyes, and I also don't want my foundation to make me look so washed out. So the key to making your foundation look hell of a flawless and hell of a natural is actually to help your skin's natural, or your face's natural high tones and low tones and dark areas and light areas pop. When you put on foundation and you actually don't create those shadows and highlights, your skin looks a hell of a lot washed out. I know this is a little extra, but Auntie Jackie, my age mate, Ujeki said that you can use one or two concealers under your eyes, and I've been using this trick a lot recently. So I'm letting that Maybelline Fit Me dry out a little bit, and I'm going, and this is a shade lighter than the Fit Me shade. This is caramel, and I'm going to then go in again, and I'm going to start doubling up on the concealer. So this is the one that I then go in and I do my nose. I highlight my nose. I do a circle, and that's where the ball of my nose is going to stand out, right? Then I do a thin line to the ball. Okay, I highlight just above my lips, and I highlight the chin, literally just here on my forehead, because I'm already the forehead gang. I'm already part of that gang. Then the next thing, oh, my bubble gum is gonna irritate me in this video when I'm editing it. I can see it already, and I can see already that my foundation is looking pretty snatched. Okay, so now I'm gonna go in again with the Fit Me, with the Maybelline Fit Me, and I'm going to go into my dark shade. And because we're trying to do flawless foundation, we're not going to do too much of a contour. We're just going to do a slight contour. So 1, 2, 3, that's all I'm going to need. 1, 2, 3, that's all I'm going to need. And on my forehead, I usually try and make my forehead look a little smaller, because, you know, gang. But I'm actually just doing it over here. I'm going to blend that out. On the nose, I try and accentuate the circle. So go over the circle and do one dot, and I do one dot. So now I'm going to let my concealer dry off again. I want the foundation to sit, but we must remember that a lot of the time this look wouldn't be this look if it wasn't for that my skin underneath is fighting the good fight. It's on its good side, it's having a good time. And the reason why it's having a good time is because of all the taking care, drinking the water, face masking, replenishing it, doing the peels. I will do a skin routine with you guys. The only problem is some of the products that I do use I've run out of, and I'm waiting for my next delivery, and I'll show you guys my skin routine. I have changed it. I used to use Lamelle, and then I ran out of money, and now I'm using something else. I used to use Lamelle, and I used to use Lamelle. If you want to see how this comes together, make sure to come back after the break, go to the toilet. I'll see you guys right after this. Don't forget to watch the adverts, or don't skip the adverts. Okay, welcome back. You took too long. I've already started. So then I start to blend out the concealer, and if you actually looked, the concealer was no longer glossy. It's actually a bit more matte, and that's because I gave it time under my eyes to set a bit. Sometimes I find that if I put a concealer and then as soon as I'm done with the concealer just start to blend it out, it doesn't give me the same effect. So waiting a few minutes before you conceal your face, before you blend it out, actually makes worlds of difference. A lot of people will see this and they'll think, oh, she's messed up, this is a disaster. Relax, it's gonna work out. This is not a problem. I've blended that under the eyes out, but like I said, you can see where the concealer stops, which is a problem, but don't worry about that. So before I blend out my contour, I take my, at the moment I'm using Bobbi Brown setting powder, and I'm using it for, I use a Bobbi Brown setting powder when I want a natural foundation. I want a natural look in my foundation, a flawless look in my foundation. I use this because it's got a bit of a yellow undertone. It's not like the Laura Mercier one with the translucent, which is a bit of it's got a white undertone, so it highlights crazy. This it picks up the yellow undertone in my skin, which is perfect for me. So then I start to apply the powder under my eyes. And the crazy thing about this Bobbi Brown setting powder is that it just disappears. Like, my skin is thirsty, literally. Then I'm going to go in, whilst I'm waiting for the setting powder to set, I'm going to start to blend out the contour. Perfect. Now I'm going to start in small circular circles, small little circles, start to blend that out. Not big geeky, no, we're doing it gently, baba. Remember that part over here? There we go. Look, just lightly going over it with the contour color. I forgot another tip. This setting powder, I take some and I just dab some over my eyebrows. Over my eyelids, right, whilst I am blending out that contour. And then whatever's left over, I go under the chin, because you know I got a double chin, bitch. Can you see my eyebrows are slowly starting to come into, like, the oils are it's starting to soak up the oils on my eyebrows. That's because I want my eyebrows to not be glossy. I want them to be matte like the rest of my face. And if I leave them, they're going to be, if I don't do that, they're going to be very shiny, and the rest of my face is going to be matte, which is going to look hell of a crazy. So to blend in your nose, you have to use a different brush. I'm going to use a foundation brush instead. I'm going to start to blend out the nose. And the reason why I'm using a smaller brush on my nose is because the bigger brush struggles to get into the ridges of the nose. What happens sometimes when you use this brush to blend out, sometimes it's too big and you find people's nose is like black going all the way. So the smaller the brush, the more precise you can get into the nose and the bridge and create a fake bridge. So it's crazy. As I'm sitting here, you can start to see the powder disappearing. So now I've gone in again with my with a different shade of my Fit Me than my Maybelline Fit Me. This is almost my skin color, but it's a little bit darker. It's not, where's that other dark one? It's not this dark. And I've gone in with the lighter shade but brown, and I've gone in and started to create the false bridge, because my nose doesn't really have a bridge. So I create my own bridge. Now I'm going to try and get rid of all this excess powder on my face. I take my Loreal True Match foundation, True Match powder, sorry, True Match powder, and I take a couple swirls of it, and then I go into where there is powder. Go into where there's powder, and I start to brush that powder off. The same thing for under my eyes. And can you see the world of difference this routine has done on my, if I had just put on foundation, it would have looked crazy different. But now, because I've gone in and I've used highlighters, contours, set the contour, set the highlighter, brushed it off with another powder, I mattified my face, you know, I'm adding dimensions to my face so that it's not just one color. And that's a trick to a really good foundation routine. I'm going to put some blush. I'm going to take a little bit of the dark pink and the light pink from LA Girl, and I'm just going to put a bit of pink on my cheeks. Then I go in with my powder, with my brush that I used to remove the powder, and I just dab over the eyebrows to remove any excess that's left over onto my brush, onto my eyebrows. So then I go in with my holy grail, which I love. Like, I love the setting spray. So this setting spray, I'm gonna put lashes on, don't worry. I know I look crazy, but this setting spray is from Maybelline. Maybelline has got this amazing lasting fix setting spray that when you put it on, girl, you're done for the day. See you later, check out, I'm done, bye, peace. Put this on. The only downfall for this, it does smell chemically. I'll see you guys after the break when I've got lashes and all that stuff. Okay guys, so yeah. This is my complete look. Why do I look like my lips are doing this? Right guys, that is the end look. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me create this look. Got a lot of steps, but the end result for me is always. So I'm signing out. My name is The Fox, and you guys are the bomb.com.